So it's the last show of before 2025 is in the bin. So the first half of the 25-26 season is not quite finished, as we've got a couple of games this weekend. I think we've got two. I'm not entirely sure if we have one or two, but we'll definitely have one. So the first half of the season isn't technically over until Sunday. But as much as I like all four teams that are playing, I don't think we're going to do a show on two games. But I mean, we did do that in week 0. So
If YSJ win, who knows?
there you go. If YSJ win, we'll do a show on Monday. It'll be a short show that will be probably,
It'll just be 10 minutes of us laughing at Hull and then logging off.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We'll have YSJ on as well. All of them, the whole team, and we'll interview them one by one. One by one. So me, Jamie, I think Cam will be joining us shortly. No SJ today for so many various reasons.
Go on, tell the story.
I'm not going to tell the story. That's for SJ to tell when he next comes on. But yeah, it's simple. This one is going to be a mid-season recap. Obviously, a very exciting first half of the British University American Football season. Very, a lot of being very, very difficult to pick. Being very, very difficult to sort of look forward into the future, look forward into the postseason. Normally, when we get to about Christmas time, there's a little bit more rigidity as to where people will be placed. But as it stands in this season anyway, not the foggiest for some of them. But obviously, as we tend to do on a Friday/Thursday, we're going to start by previewing the games that are happening this weekend. So, I mean, Derby versus Sheffield Hallam. First meeting of these two this season. It was supposed to be in week 2, I believe, but was postponed until now. So, end of the day, I mean, Hallam, I think they are the second best team. Obviously, Derby drew with the Sabres, and Hallam defeated the Sabres fairly handily. So, math would dictate that it would be the Sheffield Hallam Warriors that would take away the victory. I think the good thing for Derby is, with that draw against the Sabres, that one extra BUCS point looks to have saved them from that double relegation zone, unless the Liverpool Raptors can pull out another win. This is me expecting them to beat Edge Hill twice, of course. But as it stands right now, that extra BUCS point is going to probably be what keeps Derby up.
I think there's in that division, I think there's a big gap between first and second, Sheffield in second, and then there's a big gap between the other Sheffield and Derby, and then again another big gap between them two and Leicester. And I think it's Christmas. Who knows? There might be a surprise in store, but I don't think it'll be as much of a surprise as
Then on the other side, obviously the Northeast 2, which has suffered from not playing many games. They are playing an extra one. We think we've heard that it is happening. We've heard that it isn't happening. It could be.
It might be happening.
It might be happening. So we're gonna roll with the sense that it is happening somehow. But Hull versus York St John. Obviously, York St John making their season debut last week, losing 44-0 to the Sunderland Spartans. Hull also drew with York, and that's sort of the same thing, the same flavour we can get from Sunderland before their game against YSJ. They just drew with York. That was their only result. So, if we're going by teams that have drawn with the Centurions, then going on to face the Jaguars as it stands right now, got to go with the Hull Sharks.
I think Hull will win. I don't think it will be unbelievably convincing. I don't think they'll steamroll them. I just don't think that Hull have offensive players that are good enough to go and put up a big score on someone. I think that YSG won't cause them problems, but I just don't think that they have the standard to be able to go and steamroll a team. I really don't.
So you don't think it's going to be within the realm of 44-0
Not at
like
all.
the Spartans?
I think they might win by 2 or 3 scores, not concede. They'll probably shut them out, or if they don't, it'll be a 1 touchdown. But I don't think it's going to be like oh my days, they've absolutely steamrolled them. I just Hull haven't had offensive players since before I joined. It's not
For me, like there are parallels between the northeast and the northwest in the sense of, you'll have these teams that come in the first game, they'll play against Kiel, and they'll play against Kiel, beat, and then go on to face another team. I think that's what it could be. It can't really tell much from, unfortunately, you can't tell too much from beating York St John. It is going to come down to the other fixtures between Hull and York and Sunderland. Obviously, York St John pull off the upset. That's fantastic. I want to live in a world in which York St John and Bath Spa have won a game this season. I want to live in that world, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I remember at the beginning of the season, I did say if YSJ beat Hull, Hull are officially the worst team at Uniball this year.
Well, we might find out this. We might find out this Sunday. Cam, you got any thoughts on YSJ versus Hull?
I don't think it'll happen.
Right. Oh. Thanks, Cam. We're talking as if it is going to happen.
No one seems to think it. No one seems to know what's going on. Not even either team. So.
Always good. So, you got any thoughts on Hallam versus Derby?
Good game. I expect it to be a must-win for Derby. I think they need to seriously start considering the future. If so,
I don't. So let me tell you why I don't agree.
Okay.
Because of that draw with the Sabres.
Oh yes, sorry.
And that I don't think it's like, obviously they like to win it, but I don't think it's must win. I think with that draw, I think Derby will most likely be playing Division 1 football.
Yeah, apologies. Forgot about that one. No longer as must win thanks to the draw. I think that's managed to save Derby.
Yeah, so I mean that is our preview. If you were just here for the preview, goodbye. But if not, we got about some of our mid-season awards that we've gone through. SJ has done them as well. I'll read out SC's as well, and I don't know, try and come up with a reason. So the categories we've gone for, only 4. No physical awards for these ones. Physical awards for the end of season ones, of which, of course, I will do. So most impressive team with the most alarm bells, most likely to stage comeback, and most surprising result. Let's start first with most impressive team for all of us. Who have we gone for?
I went with Brunel. I think to make the step up into the Prem, and to obviously they've had 1 or 2 games where they haven't steamrolled people, but to genuinely just look like they're not going to get touched is a step up, which I don't think a lot of people expected at the beginning of the season. People thought they'd be competitive. Absolutely. No one thought they're going to go up and struggle. But they don't. They look a level above everyone else, which is not something which I don't think people other than SJ could say with absolute chest and certainty at the beginning of the year.
I think that is completely fair. It's completely factually correct as well. I thought we all thought they'd be good, but I don't think we thought they'd be this good. Can we do?
Well, I'm just checking something to see if I can say that I disagree with that, because I'm pretty sure I said that they'd win the division.
No, this isn't an arguing segment. This is Jamie's opinion of why he personally is the most impressed with Brunel.
Okay.
You're not. It's Jamie's. You can't argue against Jamie's opinion because that's just his opinion.
Yeah, fair. No.
We're not just here to tear each other down. I think you've got one which I will attempt to tear down. But
you can try it, but we'll go
so
from there.
who is your team that you are the most impressed with?
I'm pretty sure I said Napier. I think just in the sense of they look very good rather than just good like they did last year. You know, they're the team that I see. I mean, in my opinion, they're the one seed for the North entirely. They're who I see playing in the finals, probably against Lancashire. You know, I could easily see.
Well, this is it, right? Obviously, they were the one seed last year as well.
Yeah.
So then, going up against Northumbria and losing, not by like a massive margin, but like it seems to be this is part of the course. Napier are a good football team. Simple as that.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Well, look, like you said, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I think to expect Napier to keep up the same form, if not look better than they did last season, wasn't something. I mean, I definitely didn't think they'd look better than they did last season. And they do.
Fair.
You know, I think they could. Truthfully, I think they could probably hang in the Premier this season. Not National Premier, but Northern Premier.
I'd say that's fair. I would say that's a fair point. It's obviously it's difficult to sort of compare, but I think given the standard last season, if they were the team to have gone up, I don't think that we'd be sat here in December talking about Napier are going to be relegated. Oh gosh, But so for what is actually SJ's? I know what mine is. What is SJ's? And I will attempt to try and tell
Give us your
people.
best SJ voice.
Oh, I can't give you my best SJ voice. So for the team that SJ is most impressed with, he's gone for the Newcastle Raiders, which, you know what? Again, I don't think no bad choices here. I mean, Newcastle were in that space that people thought they'd be relegated. Getting big wins, obviously beating Leeds and beating Warwick, although by a single point. Still impressive for a team that we thought were going to be playing Division 1 football next year. So again, Newcastle, Brunel, Napier. For me, sort of in the same vein as Brunel, my one is Oxford Brookes. Their first year up in Division 1. They're in a very, very tough division. Only having one loss to the Hearts Hurricanes. They seem very, very confident that they can go when Hearts come to them, I believe, to take away, sort of erase that and maybe even take the top seed. But I mean, I was sort of deeping it when I was at OB versus Brum last Sunday, in the sense of this is Oxford Brookes. This is Oxford Brookes, who Div 2 team, were always sort of in the mix, but like the Oxford Brookes just beat the Birmingham Lions 34-0. Like beat the Birmingham Lions 34-0. Like obviously that is a banged up Birmingham, which is that's one thing, but it's still very, very impressive for a team that was perennially Division 2. And I think it just shows with the right people and the right coaching and the right players, you can sort of get out of that. You can get out of Division 2. So for me, they're very impressive. Considering that they'll be making the playoffs. Well, likely to be making the playoffs unless something collapses, but potentially even having won the division, I think is pretty crazy for OBU. So, team with the most alarm bells, Jamie.
I went for the Griffins. I know I gave them a load of stick at the beginning of the year, but I don't think anyone expected them to be this bad. It's looking very bleak, shall we say. And it doesn't even seem to be that there's any light at the end of the tunnel. There's nothing to make, for me, there's nothing to make people go, yeah, they can bring it back. Like, I really don't think there is.
We lost to Warwick by what? 2 points.
I will say, again, as much as we're not trying to argue, I'm in a shocking twist here. I'm sort of leaning with Cam here. Don't get me wrong, I do think there are alarm bells for the Leeds Griffins. I'm not going to say that there aren't, but I don't think it's as cut and dry as they're doomed, but they're going to need something big.
Well, I agree. Like, I agree there's alarm bells. You know, I can't not agree. However, we've only lost one game by more than one score. So, you know, like, I agree there's loads of alarm bells. We're 0-4. It's not the best. And I can see why somebody thinks, hey,
It's not the best, bro. That's an understatement.
I know that, but like, you know, I can easily see why someone's going, oh, they're 0-4. It's the most alarm bells. And you know, I think it all depends, truthfully, how game 5 goes. You know, if we suddenly do get spanked by Northumbria again, then yeah, I agree. It probably is the most alarm bells.
Well, in that case, then, who's your team with the most alarm bells, Cam?
I think I've gone with Leicester. I think at the start of the season, I mean, for me, it was a toss-up between Leicester and Edge Hill, but I sat there and thought and went, actually, Edge Hill doesn't surprise me whatsoever. I knew they were going to go down, so there's no alarm bells there whatsoever. Leicester, on the other hand, you know, they were a playoff team last year. Yes, they were the 8th seed, but they still made playoffs, and I'm pretty sure they put up quite a good fight against the 1 seed that they played against. So to have them coming into mid-season 0-4, 0-5,
0-6, mate.
0-6. They're relegated already. Like,
they are relegated already.
Definitively relegated already. There is nothing they can do unless, I don't know, Derby and Sheffield both decide to forfeit every game.
I believe that their next 3 opponents on 2026 are the Braves, the Green, and Hallam. So it's not,
unless they get 3 walkover wins and every other team in their division miraculously walks over every game, they're done for. So I think, you know, I guess in hindsight, it might not be the best pick for most alarm bells because they're already down. You know, the alarm bells, it's past that.
Well, I will say that I did ask the guys for these picks a couple of weeks ago, so I could, you know, prepare everything. SJ is watching, and his response to Leeds is can't get any worse than 0-4. To be fair,
0-6, that's way worse.
Well, yes, but I mean, you know,
0%, like 0%, like
0. He's Jamie.
Yeah, but 0 out of 6 is worse than 0 out of 4. You know.
Yeah, but have you scheduled to play 6 games in the first half of the season? No. So you're as bad. You've lost all the games that you were scheduled to play.
I also think playing 6 games at this point already, when there's some teams, is harsh on them.
Yeah,
that's really bad.
It's when you look at it, I think the 0-6 teams are Beckett and Leicester. They're the 0-6 teams. So you know,
Leeds
it's not.
Is not having a
it's
good
not.
year.
It's not.
0-10 across.
It's not a club. It's not the club you want to find yourself in. I think that me and SJ have gone for the same team. That again, considering that we did pick these sort of a while ago, I feel slightly less of alarm bells, but it is for both me and SJ the Exeter Demons. You know, losing to Portsmouth after Portsmouth went 0-3. But this is the thing with Exeter. They're putting on good performances. But at the end of the day, good performances without a win do not keep you in the Premiership. They lost by, I think it was 14-17 to SGS last week. Me and SJ are not saying that there's nothing at Exeter. There are lots of positives at Exeter, but they need to pull it out against the Destroyers. That they need to. That is the goal. But I think it also proves that it's not just pulling it out against the Destroyers. That Exeter could beat Cardiff. Exeter could beat SGS again. You know, I don't get me wrong, I'm not entirely sure if they'll beat Brunel. They had a good game plan against Brunel for that game, but they had 6 weeks to prepare for the Burners. And that was, you know, a very good game, made it look pretty shaky for Brunel. Probably the shakiest Brunel has looked, apart from the game with the Cobras at Clanrumney. So I think Exeter are a team that, you know, I think could stage a comeback, which will move on to our teams that are most likely to stage a comeback.
Well, it makes sense just for me to jump in because Exeter are my team. For exactly the reasons that we've said, that yes, the record's looking bleak, but their performances don't. I know that you need to win the games, but they've had several games where they've been very, very, very winnable, and they've had a track record in the past of having poor starts and then coming out, especially after Christmas. And I think that it could be a repeat where them close, tight games could get swung and go the other way. And I wouldn't be surprised if what we would go, oh my days, that's a surprise result, that happens. And I think that they could very easily beat anyone in that division. I don't mean they would win them easily, but it wouldn't be a shock to me in any of the games for the rest of the season to see on a Sunday evening that Exeter have won.
You know, like you look at the game with Portsmouth, you know, they lost by 14 points. You know, it's a pretty large margin to clear, you know, to beat the Destroyers and have the Portsmouth go down. But, you know, that's what it takes them not to go down. But, you know, I don't think it's a surprise if they could walk away with a victory somewhere else, apart from against the Destroyers. Cam, who is your team that is most likely to stage a comeback?
Yeah, I made this pick after a certain result that we'll delve into later, but I've gone for the Coventry Jets. You know, I think that loss against Cambridge was bad. You know, allegedly 270 yards worth of penalties against them, potentially attributed to a sideline personnel that was putting them off. However, you know, I mean, I wrote them off, I guess, after the loss. Then they bounced back. They smashed Lincoln massively. And you know, after ARU faltering a little bit, the room is now there for Coventry to step back in. If they beat ARU, they win that division if they win out their games.
Do they?
Yeah, because they beat ARU on head-to-head.
How much did they lose to ARU by?
They've not played ARU.
But what about ARU?
They only play ARU once.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, because Cambridge. Yeah.
So
Okay.
if they beat ARU and win out, they go up. So you know, ARU have thrown away a division, but Coventry are now right back in the running.
So let me tell you why that's nonsense.
Okay.
Before you say anything, let's not forget that these are awards and Cam's own.
No, it's okay. No, I'll take it. Go on, let's have it.
Because my team that most likely to stage comeback is the Cambridge Pythons.
For God's sake. They've got to do it against ARU though.
Yeah, but they lost by 1 point. Yeah, how many? You know, we look at QMBL, which is SJ's pick, which we'll get onto. They lost by a single point to Imperial.
Yeah.
Cambridge only lost to ARU by a single point.
Yeah.
I think Cambridge can do it. Obviously, reason why ARU losing to DMU, that's huge. That is huge, and I think it opens the door more for the Pythons than it does the Jets.
Well, I'd say all it's done is kind of shut the door on ARU. I think ARU had it in hand, and now it's sort of a case of, I mean, every single team out of them needs to win out. Whichever of those teams wins out, wins the division.
Yeah, you know, but I just think Cambridge have got. I trust Cambridge more to do it than I do the Jets. But
fair enough.
Good picks, and SJ's gone for QMBL. You know, very much the reason I said before, only losing to Imperial by 1 point. They're going to rematch with the Immortals later in the season, the second half of the season, for a game that could very well, it will most likely end up deciding who's getting promoted out of the Southeast too. So I don't think that's a bad pick. And then our last category is most surprising result. Going to head to Jamie first.
I've said that the shutout at the beginning of the season between Edinburgh and Stirling, because at that point, and yes, Edinburgh are looking really good, but to absolutely steamroll Stirling, and Stirling since haven't looked awful, like they've not. It's been very hit and miss. The division's been up and down. I think that really was a statement at the beginning of the season and not something. I think I predicted Stirling, and they got whitewashed. Like it was that really set the tone for that division at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree. Obviously, coming back, Stirling being able to put some points on Napier, but Napier still putting multiple scores on them. You know, Napier looking very, very good. Stirling are most likely going to be the second place team in Scotland. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Cam, what about you?
I have gone, like I mentioned, with the ARU DMU game. Not a single one of us predicted that score. Not a single one of us really predicted
No,
DMU. Oh,
He
Jamie,
did.
apologies. Jamie somehow predicted that score. Not a single one of us, except for Jamie, apparently, really expected DMU to win anything this year. I mean, like DMU haven't been good for the past 2 years. I don't think they've won in the past two. They lost to like Associate Salford last year. There was no reason for them to come out and beat the team that was running away at the time of the division, and then they just walk out and beat them. I think that is the biggest upset.
I mean, you're saying we'll beat them like the scoreline was massive. It's a 1-point game.
But they still beat them. You know, a
I
loss
mean,
is a loss at the end of the day.
no, but with all due respect, Cam, you are talking like DMU beat the brakes off of them.
I agree with what you're saying that it was a shock.
Oh yeah,
the
oh
LFL
yeah,
stat
100%.
sheet is all
But
that matters,
it's also
you know?
my argument will always be Div 2 football be Div 2 football, and these
Yeah.
things happen.
Yeah, but
No. I agree that it's a shocking result. I'm not saying that this is a terrible pick. No, it's a great pick. It's a great pick, and it's gone to the point where it's also SJ's pick as well for his shocking result of the season. So,
well,
yeah, I mean,
good pick.
my one is Surrey beating Sussex 16-8. I mean, just because I had Sussex last 2 years, they've been the team that has been on the fringe of being promoted, but there's always just been someone else above them. And Surrey, whilst have been in the hunt, they've fell the last 2 times against the Saxons. But to come out and win, I mean, pushes Sussex right down and really does set up Surrey versus Reading as the game that is most likely to result in the Southern Twos team for promotion. So those are our mid-season awards. Interesting, but we'll keep track on how they're all doing. But now more of a general look now at all of the divisions. Let's go obviously to the National Premiership, shaking up eerily similar to last year's. However, the scoreline between the Gold and the Saints is sort of the outlier here. One thing I will say that I did say on the show on Monday is that with some of these National Premiership teams, there is sort of space for people to come in January, and I was told by Durham that they don't actually have any courses that start in January, so it's not going to be the case for the Saints. But for everyone else in that division, you can even include Beckett in there as well. There is space for it. I'd assume anyway. But it is obviously for Uwe and for Notts as well. So, but as it stands right now, Uwe, they're at the top, but every single team has suffered a loss.
I genuinely, and I don't just mean this for the national, obviously we're focusing on that at the moment. I hand on heart believe that this season so far has been the most enjoyable and best season in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
There's very, very little which people know going into Christmas what's going on.
No.
That's the first time in years that's happened.
Speak for yourselves. Neither of my Uniball teams have won a game. This season's been terrible.
Yeah, Gloucestershire, they've won one game. one win, one loss, and one draw.
They won half a game, Gloucestershire.
Yes,
exactly.
Half a game. Mate, those 3 BUCS points, delicious. But I mean, at the start of the season, obviously, we had I had Beckett over Loughborough. I had Loughborough, the team being relegated, but Beckett's fallen apart. Loughborough still, pretty comfortable. However, there is only I think it's 6 points in it between Loughborough and Beckett. If Leeds can beat, or if they can beat them by a touchdown, Beckett stay up. There's still hope for Beckett.
I fancy later on. They're looking like there's I'm not saying by any means they're going to be competitive, but
They're
they look like things are molding together a little bit more.
No. Can we just relegate both of them and be done with like
No.
those two in the national?
No, I don't think that's fair. Like it's like Loughborough are a well drilled team. I think just be able to just say get rid of Loughborough. No, I don't think that's.
Neither of them have ever come close to beating either. Well, I mean, in the past 2 years, neither of them have come close to beating any of the other three teams. Like, just make it competitive.
I don't think that you'll
Brunel
find,
and SGS in there. Put
other than
and
Brunel, maybe. I don't think you'll find a team that will.
SGS would dispose of both Loughborough and Beckett, even in their weakened state.
Strongly disagree.
No, I don't agree with that.
SGS a couple of years ago, I agree.
I still think they dispose of them. You know what? Put them and Napier in the Prem. Just
Napier, I strongly believe if Napier ended up in that, if they end up there, Napier will be the whipping boys of that division.
Yeah, like you have to build. You can't just take a Div 1 side, plonk them in the National Prem just because they've been good for 2 years in Div 1 and go, here you go. No, it's like
what happens to Scotland if Napier do go up though? Because like bring back the Highlands.
No, the Borders is what you mean.
Borders.
I've had enough of this. I've had so many people over the last 2 weeks tell me bring back the Borders.
Yeah, not in a reform just like got to have some clip going Borders, bring it back.
The Borders,
I'm saying no, bring back Borders.
You've set me off now. The Borders as a division had a team in it, my team, that was closer to playing in the south than it was to the border.
I mean, Leeds were in the Borders.
That's not what he's saying.
Yeah, I know. I'm just agreeing with him. Like, it's silly, but come on, they can't be in their own bubble forever, unrelegatable.
No. Well, they can.
Well, if they can't afford,
they can.
They can. Can we just get rid of Aberdeen as well? Can we stop pretending that they're a team? Like they're not. It's
okay. We'll get onto this when we get to Scotland. We're talking about National Prem, and I'm sorry. And again, I like Napier. You know, Ramona comes on the show. But if you were to take Napier now and put them in the National Prem,
I reckon they do better than Beckett.
No,
I think Cam's forgot that they're Div 1 and not Northern
Prem. No. I am telling you, hand on heart, for a fact. I do not think Beckett would get promoted from the Midlands 1.
Oh God, these are some
Northern 1. I don't think they. I think Lancashire is better than Beckett.
Bro, have you had too much to drink on your way home or something?
No, come on, you've got to agree. Lancashire would beat Beckett. Come on.
No, mate. If Leeds Beckett can score on national Premiership sides, right?
Lancashire can.
No, Cam. No, this isn't like in your head canon that Lancashire could. It's Leeds Beckett. Leeds Beckett has. Leeds Beckett has done that.
I think Cam understands the difference between that National League and everyone else. I really don't think
he somehow left. This argument's ludicrous.
I'm back.
No. It's Lancashire. Lancashire could do it. Leeds Beckett.
Thank you for agreeing.
Leeds Beckett has done it. Mate, get off my show, man.
Tebs,
get off my show, bro.
Can I please, just until he comes back in, can I please make one more award for the mid-season awards? Because there's several nominations in my mind of most ludicrous moments on the show so far, right? And Cam's invention of implosion was already the front runner, right? He's beaten his own front runner by saying what he's just said.
Bro, he needs to calm down. If he's saying that I'm agreeing with him by saying Lancashire could do it. This is I'm sure Lancashire could be competitive, but there's still like a high Div 1 side comparing a high Div 1 side to Durham, Gold, and the Bullets, and Loughborough. It's like, and Beckett. It's like, it's crazy. If he's calmed down, I'll let him back in. Have you calmed down?
Well,
no.
Look, let's hear me out. Top 25. Where's Lancashire? Where's Beckett?
Right. This is making Tebs more sad than John Cena retiring this weekend.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's
not. It's not. Yeah, I think those takes are silly. Very, very silly takes. Especially because, like, you know, we don't have bowl games. It's not going to come to fruition that Beckett is going to play the Rams. I would. No, I can't even put together a sentence. This is silly. I mean, this is it. So, TJ, everyone follows American TJ. He set up a Discord with, you know, Uniball, and you can go there and pick a Uniball team and talk about Uniball. We're in there. If this comes up in there, I'm going to be furious because I'm going to defend this because you've got me defending Leeds Beckett. But you're making me defend Leeds Beckett against Division 1 sides.
It's not that you said a Northern Prem.
Like if you said to me, I don't know, Tebs, I think that maybe, you know, NTU or the Cobras, if they went up, they may be able to compete. No. You've said no.
Yeah, but
no.
Do you want to give my reasoning?
Oh, yeah, go on then.
Well, I think Leeds Beckett would get relegated from the Prem, so why would I compare them to Prem sides? I'm going to compare them to Div 1 sides where I think they are.
Hold on a second. So you're telling me you think Leeds Griffins would beat Beckett? Well, I think you've got to say that. So I'm just going to take it as you've got to say that.
No, I'm being serious. I think we would.
Right, Cam, if you want to put the work in and organise a fundraiser where we will organise between the two teams in question, then go for it. Leeds Beckett versus Lancashire Rams.
Leeds Beckett won't accept because they know they'll lose.
No, right. So let's take Napier as an example. Again, I like Napier, and it feels like I'm you know, poo-pooing Napier a bit here.
Okay.
Napier lost to Northumbria.
Yeah.
So does that mean you're telling me that you think the Northumbria Mustangs, if they went to Premiership North, the National Premiership, you think that the Northumbria Mustangs would have a better time than Leeds Beckett? Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying, but I think they'd still have an equally terrible time. I just think they'd be slightly better than Beckett.
The way that I will the last thing I think you'd say, right? But last year when Brunel whitewashed everyone, yeah? Brunel, and we
didn't, but they fucked.
No, but
no, they didn't. They didn't whitewash everyone. They didn't whitewash everyone.
I'm helping you.
I didn't swear.
I'm helping you claim here. Brunel were comfortably better than Edinburgh or Lancashire this year.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that. And we had the conversation that Brunel going up to the Southern Prem, not the National League, might struggle a little bit.
I didn't believe that. Not for one bit.
Oh my Christ, man.
No one went, I'll tell you what, Brunel could skip a division and beat them all.
I didn't say they'd beat them all, but I definitely said they could go straight up to the National.
Why are you on this show?
Ridiculed.
Yeah, no wonder. You almost made me swear. Thankfully, I didn't swear, so we can keep this.
You were arguing with Jamie.
It's your fault for getting us on this tangent. We're supposed to be having a nice, lovely talk about the mid-season, and
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Prem North. Let's talk about Prem North. I mean, NTU, you know, having it into Christmas, for me, doesn't come as too much of a surprise. You know, like Warwick, again, losing by, you know, not too much to them or Newcastle. I think the biggest, surprise for me in this division, or two actually, is the Newcastle Raiders, you know, number one beating Warwick, but also being clear of the relegation spot, and Leeds Griffins being 0-4.
Cam, have you got anything to say about the division?
I've given my opinion on the division. It's that I don't think it's a case of the entire division being particularly strong or weak. I think everyone's quite evenly matched. I think you compare it to the South. Yeah, well, like I said, we've lost by 1 score in all of our games, bar NTU, and
He is right.
NTU. We just, truthfully, we played terribly. I think. Look, I don't want to discredit any team, but I think I don't think the Premier South is going to have a difficulty in winning, no matter who it is. The bracket.
No, I don't know if I agree with that.
There is no world where Brunel does not cake stomp every single Prem North team.
My brother in Christ, you can just ask SJ if you want a free T-shirt. Like,
I'm just being truthful. I've said this privately in the chat. I don't think there is a truly excellent team in Div 1 in the Prem North this year.
but I feel
teams are
like
sharing wins because they're all amazing. I think they're all sharing wins because they're all not playing the best.
Yeah, but I feel like last year when going into the postseason for the Premiership, I didn't think Warwick could beat Cardiff. They did. I didn't think Warwick would beat Portsmouth. They did. Obviously, didn't beat SGS in the final, but I think there is still space there for a northern team to come out and surprise people, whether it be Warwick or whether it be NTU.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I don't know I'm only going off of what I've seen, and from what I've seen from watching Brunel games and then watching every team in the North play now, I don't think any of the top 3 in the South will have a difficulty beating any single person in the Prem North.
Cam hates Prem North. Heard it here first.
Okay.
Cam's coming up for every justification to defend the Griffins.
That's in no way. I'm back in the South there.
You're not in the South.
Oh no, I'm just back in the South.
So Prem South, let's go on to it. Obviously Burners, they're out. I will say a little bit of spice in that game with Cardiff, having to pull one out there. But I mean, they've got SGS, they've got Exeter again, and Portsmouth again. SGS being the only home fixture for Bruno in the second half of the season. I don't think Portsmouth are going to cause many problems. I think Exeter could do, but really it's that rematch with SGS that is the very interesting one in the Prem South, but not too much of a surprise. Obviously, Exeter, as we've spoken about with Exeter, they do have something, but again, keeping games close keeping games close and losing doesn't lend itself to anything apart from relegation. So, but I mean, again, we sort of touched on Scotland as well. Napier, Napier at the top. Glasgow, Stirling, and Edinburgh still in the mix for the playoffs, but not too much of a surprise. Obviously, I think the one point here is Aberdeen not playing a game, currently on minus 10 BUCS points.
I never saw that coming.
It's a shame, right? It's you want teams to be played. I know that teams in Scotland are annoyed that they will prepare for a game and then it doesn't happen. So very much the ghosts of the UWS Pyros very much still in 2025. So getting on to a division that I think we can discuss slightly more. Obviously, apart from the Lancashire Rams, who've well ahead here, Manchester, they're in second place. They've beaten MMU twice. Do you think the Tyrants can have a bit more of a push going into 2026 and the playoffs?
Yes, because MMU look like they don't know what's happening. We all thought really at the start of the season, like, oh God, MMU look quite good compared to what we expected, and then nothing. I
mean, we've got. It does seem like MMU they could still make the playoffs, but they need some big score lines here. But second game against Manchester wasn't particularly thrilling for them. But I think the Tyrants could do something. It obviously depends on who they're matched up against come the playoffs. But they're it's sort of the other side of the bracket that's slightly less glorious in Raptors and the Edge Hill Vikings, which again I am still surprised that the Liverpool Raptors are in the position that looks like they will be heading down to Division 2.
I can't speak on the Liverpool Raptors, to be fair. I wasn't well versed enough in it. So we'll take your word. I guess back-to-back relegations is surprising. So
I wouldn't say back to. I wouldn't say the relegation from the Prem isn't what it. For me, I think what's sort of not sad about it, but what's I guess it is what's sad about it is for Liverpool is, they fought long and hard for a good couple of years to get out of Division 2. They were like the best team in Div 2 North for 2 years running, and when they finally, they went back to back winning the Division 2 Northern Conference, and then to get it was like, oh, Liverpool finally in Division 1. Okay, let's see what they can do. Not a particularly fantastic season in their first season in Div 1, but then to now be on the verge of double relegation, going back down to Division 2, I'm sort of am coming around to the idea that maybe it was a bit too much too soon for the Liverpool Raptors.
It's almost like when we had the conversation years ago. This is exactly what I said.
You did say
they were not good enough for the Prem, and it's had that knock-on effect on them because having a season of just getting trounced doesn't appeal to anyone in recruitment.
And I will say this, like I say every time, they did win one game in the Prem. One against Newcastle, which is why Newcastle is surprising.
And that's one more game than Edge Hill will win in Division 1.
It's one more game than Leeds Griffins will win.
In the Prem. Yeah, in the Prem, yeah.
No, like a,
so Midlands and Yorkshire won. Obviously, the Nottingham Green looking good. I think the question is here: Nottingham Green come in the playoffs. Could they be the representative for the North? We've got Lancashire, you've got Napier. Can Green come in, sweep it, and be playing on BUCS Big Tuesday?
I don't think the standard in that division is as high as the other northern divisions. So I think they might look better.
Okay.
Does that make sense? They look better.
Yes.
They are still a very good team. I have no doubt in that. But I think the standard in Lancashire's division, for example, I think is a higher standard. Take Edge Hill and Liverpool out of it. But
I disagree. I think having Hallam as a second place team there is a way higher standard than either Manchester or MMU. I'd argue that Derby and Sheffield are not pushover teams. I mean, Derby maybe more so than Sheffield, but both have proven they can be competitive. I'd say that the Midlands is still. I would say. I mean, this year I'd say it's the second hardest division in the north. I'd say Scotland's the most competitive.
I think given Green's losses late in the season to Hallam last year, it makes me sort of, err on the side of it being more competitive. I do understand where both of you are coming from, but I mean, if I would have ranked them, I'd probably go, I would actually say I think that one probably may be the most competitive, in fact. But Hallam is behind them obviously, but I mean, it's still a big question. If we're going to fantasy predict here, right now, Green versus Rams. Do you think Green can get them?
No, because they won't have their gold players.
Okay, then what could Green get Napier?
No.
It is an interesting one. I think Green could very well come in and do something. I think they could come in and do something. I really do. But as it stands right now, I do think that the Knights and the Rams are ahead of them. So I mean, moving on to
Rams, yeah, I do. I think it's
I think it is the Rams, yeah. But again, I think if it comes down to it, and we get that northern final, which is a semi-final between the Knights and the Rams, that's going to be a fantastic game. Yeah. It's going to be as simple as that, right?
Yeah. Will that not end up being the final if they're the 1 and 2 seed?
No, because the final is.
Oh, sorry, finals north versus south.
Yeah, so it's technically the semi-final, but it's the north.
Yeah. But for me, it depends who the number 1 seed is as for who wins that. Who doesn't have to travel, I think is.
Yeah, although Lancashire and Edinburgh is not too far apart. I think it's one of the closer matchups. It's a lot closer than Nottingham and Edinburgh.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, but it's still not a nice journey by any
Yeah,
means.
but I feel like
Is it only an hour and a half, 2 hours?
No.
Which I feel.
no.
Is it not? Is it more?
No.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Well, I mean, we've seen it in the past where, and I mean, this is obviously a long time ago. I think there's maybe like a couple of Green players maybe still on that particular squad that Green travelled up to Glasgow and beat Glasgow away. You know, it can happen for the Green, but I imagine they're not travel resistant teams.
No.
So I think we're gonna go to the Southwest one last because that one's a bit of a mess. Southern Hertfordshire and OBU currently at the top. They have played. I believe that the scoreline was, I want to say 14, but I will check. Yeah, I mean, I think OBU are doing good. No, 7. Only 7 points in it between OBU and Hearts. Realistically, it comes down to that one. Then on the flip side, UEA, despite beating Oxford, did not beat them by enough, and UEA is still in that relegation zone. Almost predicted, apart from Brum having a bit of a slide. Are we surprised by either Hearts or UEA?
No.
No.
Okay.
I think most people had them in both promotion and relegation
Yeah,
pre-season.
I think that
you were the only one that went otherwise. I think you said Birmingham.
I did say Birmingham. Yeah, I've already said I was very high on Birmingham, but I'm interested to see Birmingham Lions come back later on, if I'm completely honest. Southeastern, which is obviously a very, very interesting one. KCL, Kent, and you can say Brighton as well in there.
Do they still have a chance? I don't know with head to head. I thought they didn't now.
I think that they do.
Okay.
It depends. They got they got to win. Obviously, Brighton beating Kent by 12 in a shutout, then being shut out 24-0 by Kent, and then KCL and Kent drawing as well. Realistically, it's going to come down to the rematch between KCL and Kent. But then on the flip side of that, the Kingston Cougars winning by enough in their rematch with UCL to get them out of the relegation zone as well, which I think's, obviously massive for Kingston. But I think maybe it's UCL's time. We've got a late season 15th of February game to decide KCL versus Kent and who's going to win the Southeast. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, but I think the BUCS points is where it's going to start being interesting when we start tackling the Southwest, which we'll do now. Obviously, Bristol lead it. They're 4-2 record. They're on 8 BUCS points. They've got a rematch with Bath. That's probably their biggest game. Bournemouth are in second place. They've currently got 5. And I think they've got to play Southampton and Plymouth one more time. So it's interesting for them, but obviously Bath very much still in the mix. But it all depends on if that -7 BUCS points deduction could come back and actually make Bournemouth miss the playoffs if other things in other divisions and their own division actually happen. I think, what do you guys think about a Southern playoff without?
I mean, it'll be bad. I mean, it's a little bit funny of how it's come about, but it'll still be bad. They're inarguably one of the top teams in Div 1. So yeah, I guess it was another expectation that it'd be them playing somebody else in the Div 1 finals. Finally, now that Brunel are gone.
What a season for Bristol, though. By the way, we all doing they're not just an online team anymore.
No.
And well in for them.
They're a very good defense. I think it's going to be very interesting how they actually pair up with some of the teams from the other divisions. Come the playoffs, because I think Bristol are obviously going to make the playoffs, but I think it does depend. I think obviously the entirety of the South depends on Bournemouth make the playoffs, because really Bournemouth are, as far as I'm concerned, they are the team that is the most likely to be playing in BUCS Big Wednesday, despite the fact I've got Hearts over them. It's still I still think it's going to be Bournemouth and Hearts in the final. That's what I think it will be as it stands right now. I'm giving the edge to Hearts a little bit more, but a playoffs without Bournemouth it's wide open, right? It's completely wide open. So I think that's very much we need to see how it goes.
I mean, Bournemouth would, I guess Bournemouth would probably prefer to be the 7 or 8 seed. Coming into the playoffs with the 7th seed is probably quite a big advantage for them, because all of a sudden they knock out, likely Bristol. Bristol or God, they'd play Bristol, Hearts, OBU, or the winner of the Southeast 1. Sorry. So if they come in at the 7th seed, 8th seed, they knock out somebody big early on. Yes, they have to travel, but they've got that advantage of they can kill off a harsh person early, and potentially be getting more favourable matchups as you move through the bracket.
Yeah, and I mean I think that's what's scary. That even though Bournemouth, if they make the playoffs, are likely to travel, very much still in the sense of when the news of the -7 BUCS points deduction came out, they didn't drop in anyone's rankings. If it comes to them missing the playoffs, obviously I imagine they drop straight out, because they, as much as they're undefeated, and they probably will be undefeated into the postseason, if they're not in the playoffs, you can't do much. You can watch. It's as simple as that. So, what?
Well, I still think they're a top 25 team, even if they don't make playoffs. Like, I don't think missing out on playoffs due to points deductions stops you from being a bad team. Like, over the years, Michigan's been hit with enough recruiting violations. They've still been a good college football team. Just because they
no, but that's not what I'm saying. When the polls come out when we're in the postseason, Yarmouth, who would, if they were in it, they'd probably be a top 5, even top 3, versus them not being it at all. Like, that's the difference.
Yeah, but they're not missing out because of quality, though. So I don't think. I get where you're coming from.
If you can't win the championship, if you physically can't win it because you're not in it, you're not there.
I get where you're coming from.
I don't think you do.
I do. I do get where you're coming from.
Jamie, do you think he gets where I'm coming from?
No.
No. Jamie's just. Look at him. Look at that look on his face. He knows.
Cam, what he's saying, what he's saying is it's physically impossible to rank a team that aren't in the competition.
Well, that's not true.
No, it is, because they're not in the competition.
It's not true. We rank teams that aren't in the competition all the time.
What?
I don't know what that means.
Div 2 North.
Like, yeah, I don't know what.
Div 2.
It's like being on the X Factor. Someone that's already out, you're saying, "Oh, but they're still up there with the best," and it's like, "Well, no, they're not. They're out."
Yeah. So imagine you've got the college football playoffs, right?
Well, so use that as an example. Notre Dame is still ranked 12th. Well, how are they ranked if they're not in the playoffs, Tabs?
But this is it. They physically can't win it. I'm not saying that in the general writers poll that they'll still be in it. Of course they'll still be in it. But when the playoffs come around, when we stop doing them because there's no need for a general ranking, because we just do playoff teams, they won't be in it because they're not in it.
But I didn't know you meant just playoff teams. I thought you were talking about the top 25.
I did say playoff rankings, Cam.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Okay, Division 4th. Not much we can really talk about from two of them. Let's be honest. There's not much we can talk about from the Northeast or the Northwest. Lancaster are leading it. They beat Staffordshire and Salford. Salford.
It's hard when they only play 4 games a season.
It is. It's
boring. I feel bad for the players more than anything.
4
games. What is it? A 6-7 team div?
5.
Is it 5? I thought it was 6. Sorry. But 4 games. It's just 4 games. It's just terrible. It's just terrible.
But yeah, I mean, like we've had Coach Aaron from Salford on to sort of discuss it, with the 4-game season, and it's looking like it is going to come down to Lancaster versus LJMU, But I think the story will be, Salford LJMU, can Salford make the push to make the playoffs? I mean, Salford make the playoffs. Obviously, that's massive for them in their first season. I think that's going to be the thing to look out for. Apart from the Lancaster versus LJMU game, I don't think Staffordshire or Kiel is going to give too much of a challenge to either Lancaster or LJMU at this stage. Northeastern again, nothing to really talk about until
Someone won a game. Someone finally won a game.
But I'm aware, but it's still, you can't really take much away from it until it's
happened.
And until we get Hull and Sunderland, until we get Hull and York again, or Sunderland and York again. Not too much going on. It's been a bit more shambolic than I think potentially anyone thought it would be. But that's at the end of the day, weather's weather. Weather's weather. You
Not
can't.
having goalposts put up is
not having
Yeah.
goalposts put up.
But I mean, I think the Midlands 2 is a lot more interesting, obviously, with ARU still at the top, but losing to DMU by a point. Cambridge losing to ARU by a point. Coventry could still do something, of course, but they'll need some help. I still think that this divisional comes down to the rematch between ARU and Cambridge. I think me and SJ have already said that we're going to. Because I think it's last week of the season, which is the 22nd of February.
I hope they draw. I really hope they draw and just ruin everything for everyone.
Why?
Because then we'll have no clue what's... Well, actually, Coventry would win it all if they draw.
Yeah, but it'll be the last week of the season, so it won't ruin anything for anyone. It will just go to whoever's got the most BUCS points.
Coventry aren't winning out anyway.
You don't think they're winning out?
No.
Well, who do they play now? They play DMU. They play Lincoln again. They play ARU.
Yeah, I don't think they beat ARU.
They play DMU twice, Lincoln again, and they play
DMU.
Cambridge.
DMU least one of those.
Is that true?
Yes, they played DMU twice and Lincoln twice this season.
Okay, but they also play ARU and then Cambridge.
Yeah,
and I don't think they're going to win either of those games.
No. They've already played Cambridge, and they only need to play
they're playing Cambridge again.
Oh, are they? So they're not playing DMU twice. Sorry.
No, they are playing DMU twice. No, sorry, they're only playing DMU once. Coventry have got ARU. Yeah. They've got ARU, Cambridge, Lincoln, and DMU.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought.
So I don't think they are.
I mean,
God, what a shambolic show. Oh my
God. To turn it back around, I have got the Bafra news flash and some massive news that there's only been one report of deflated balls this week.
Nice.
Only one. But then the best one, UCL Emperors. I won't go through the entire thing. However, changing rooms were lockable via bar staff, and 2 were provided for a mixed gender crew. However, 1 had been recently mopped and had still wet floor signs. So
lock them up.
To be fair, I'm on the side of the rest on this one, because if you're walking around on cleats on on a mopped floor like it's ceramic,
it's not good enough. UCL, if you're providing 2 changing rooms, you need to have access to them. You can't be mopping it just before.
Yeah.
Try those changing rooms.
I agree. Southern 1, obviously, Sussex have fallen massively after that loss to Surrey. Looking like it's going to be Reading and Surrey. But I mean, on the flip side of it, it's Chichester. They've still not won a game. Neither has Solent. Holloway have. I think it's going to take some time before both Solent and Holloway can sort of reach that level of pushing for promotion. I don't think they'll be coming this year. And obviously, to win a game, great. But yeah, I think that's my take on the Southern one. Surrey versus Reading is the game to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
So southeastern wise, it's Imperial and QMBL. Their rematch. What?
Take that back.
What?
The Wolfpack are winning out.
Yeah, but I don't think it means much because of the draw.
Depends on results elsewhere.
Depends on results. Again, I do think, if the City Wolfpack, we're going to keep pushing this narrative. It's going to be really fun if they make the playoffs. I'd love to see it if they do, but I mean, losing to QMBL last week 20-0, I believe. They're currently behind the Mariners. It could happen for City, but I mean that draw does make it a bit iffy for them.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Yeah, I mean, what a terrible show to end what has been a successful half year of Depth Chart
Merry
Sports.
Christmas.
What
Merry
a
Christmas,
terrible,
everyone.
terrible show. This
That's a
probably won't
brilliant
even
show.
go up on Spotify. Gonna delete it from YouTube.
After we've got the clip of Cam saying that.
No, I'm not. We could clip that.
No problem.
we could clip that. What is it? Depth Chart Sports falls apart.
It's not falls apart. It wasn't that bad of a take.
We're shutting it down.
I've had worse.
We're shutting it down. We're shutting it all down.
Have a good Christmas, guys. We'll see you on Monday when YSJ beat Hull.
Yes, but no, that's
Merry
it.
Christmas. Woo.
Thank you very much, everyone, for the first half of the BUCS season. We're going to obviously keep going because we're not just going to stop halfway through. But yeah, we need to think of some Christmas content. Join TJ's Discord. So you can shout at me, and Cam can shout at you, and then I can then shout at Cam for shouting at you.
I've been shouted at already.
Yeah, you have.
We are officially just over 600 followers away from the hot tub stream.
Yeah, no, I'm well aware. I'm well aware.
Can we get it by Christmas?
No,
I doubt it.
Hot takes.
That's it. Just thank you very much. Sorry that you had to sit through this. Thank you very much, Cam and Jamie and SJ and everyone else who's been on the show. We will see you. That's a good question. When will we see you next?
I thought Jamie was frozen there for a second because his face, you kept the same facial expression.
I'm fairly certain that the first one back is going to be the 19th of January. So just over a month. We're going to go and enjoy our Christmases and think about Uniball and stuff like that. Goodbye.